My God, I hate drugs.
President Duterte says the country's reinvigorated relationship with Russia is starting to bear fruit. In his arrival speech in Davao City this afternoon, Mr. Duterte says he signed over 600 million pesos worth of business deals with Russia. President Duterte also spoke about the proposal to explore possible construction of nuclear power plants in the country. But the president says he has to conduct consultations first. Here's the president in his own words.
I have to talk to the cabinet. I cannot affirm or deny that because that's part of the proposals. The hard line would come after I shall have consulted with everybody concerned, including people of the industry affected. If it's food, if it's agriculture, if it is energy, then Secretary Cosio. If there is something in that agreement that would require the consent of Congress, then you have to go to Congress and argue your case before that body.
The country's first and only nuclear power station, the Bataan Nuclear Power Plant, never became operational due to issues of corruption and safety. After last week's Senate investigation into the so-called ninja cops, another government body wants to look deeper into the issue. Our CN Arcangel reports.
The Justice Department will reopen its investigation into the case of so-called ninja cops or policemen who resell seized illegal drugs following the revelations made by retired police officials at a Senate inquiry last week. In a statement, Justice Secretary Menardo Guevara says a new panel of state prosecutors will probe Police Lieutenant Colonel Rodney Baloyo and 12 other policemen who conducted a drug bust in Pampanga in 2013. He says the policemen will be given the chance to present additional evidence in connection with the complaints filed against them for violation of Republic Act 9165 or the Comprehensive Dangerous Drugs Act of 2002, which were dismissed. Guevara says he will try to resolve the case within a month, considering it has been pending review since 2017. Speaking at the joint inquiry of the Senate Blue Ribbon and Justice Committees, retired Police General and now Baguio City Mayor Benjamin Magalong claimed there were irregularities in how the operation was conducted. He accused Baloyo's team of hoarding some 160 kilos of shabu worth around 648 million pesos following the operation. The policemen also reportedly got 50 million pesos to release suspected Chinese drug lord Johnson Lee, whom they arrested during the drug bust. Baloyo and his team were ordered dismissed for grave misconduct over the drug bust in 2014, but it was never implemented. Instead, the policemen were only demoted by one rank. The Philippine National Police says it will fully cooperate in the DOJ's probe. PNP spokesperson Brigadier General Bernard Banac says they will make sure there are no erring policemen in their ranks and those who break the law are made accountable. Meanwhile, the House of Representatives isn't keen on launching its own probe into the ninja cops controversy, even if the Senate already has its hands full investigating the issue. Surigao del Norte Congressman Robert Ace Barbers, chair of the House Committee on Dangerous Drugs, says the Senate panels already have enough information to recommend the filing of charges against the so-called ninja cops.
Sa aming palagay, it will be a waste of time and money for the government na mag-imbestiga pa kami. So that's enough already. Anyway, ang bottom line yan, if makita ng komite ng Senado na may liability mga opisyal na yan, I'm sure they will recommend the filing of the appropriate charges.
Barbers urges authorities to make sure proper charges are filed against the so-called ninja cops this time to send the message there are no sacred cows under the administration. CN Arcangel, CNN Philippines.
While he was in Russia, President Duterte said 2 generals are still involved in the illegal drug trade. But in his arrival speech earlier, he clarified there are no generals involved in the recycling of illegal drugs. Mr. Duterte said he was confused about the ranks and positions of officers involved. He also reiterates he needs the DILG to investigate the issue and hear its findings before he acts. In their first 100 days in the 18th Congress, senators have been busy investigating corrupt practices and tackling controversial measures. Neophyte senators have also taken an active role in legislation this early. Our Joyce Ilas tells us more.
But you thought he was qualified on August 20. You made the order.
Because, sir, I'm not the lawyer, I'm not the court.
I don't care if
cannot
you're not a
decide
lawyer.
on...
When you take a position in the government, doesn't matter whether you're a lawyer or not, you take responsibility. It's called accountability.
As in the past Congresses, legislative inquiries took up much of the Senate's time at the start of the 18th Congress.
You dropped the ball. You dropped the ball. From the very beginning, you dropped the ball.
I'm willing to be subjected to investigation, Your Honor.
The Senate Blue Ribbon and Justice Committees have conducted 8 hearings, which started on the Good Conduct Time Allowance Law or Freedom for Sale scandal, branched out to other corrupt practices involving Bureau of Corrections officials and bilibid inmates, and now the recycling of drugs by ninja cops. Committee Chairman Richard Gordon initially said he only wanted 2 hearings on the GCTA issue. But during almost every hearing, senators would uncover a new possible anomaly, making them call for a new hearing.
I see rough sailing when I make my final report.
The Senate has also taken up controversial measures. For the first time, the divorce bill was discussed in the Senate. Senate Committee on Women Chairperson Risa Ontiveros is optimistic the controversial measure will pass in the Senate. But some senators were quick to say they do not support the measure.
I do sense na mas may openness dito sa dissolution of marriage bills kumpara sa iba pang mga contentious bills.
I don't think we'll move here in the Senate, no? Kasi yung divorce is bira ito doon sa word na marriage, which is very sacred for Filipinos like us in a Christian country like the Philippines.
The same committee has also discussed the SOGI Equality Bill, or the bill prohibiting discrimination on the basis of sexual orientation and gender identity and expression. This early, however, Senate President Tito Soto has already declared the measure dead in the Senate. He explained the measure is unconstitutional and infringes on the religious and academic freedom, among others. But Ontiveros is not giving up.
Napapasa sa Senate yung SOGI.
Yes.
Based sa conversation ko sa mga kapwa-senador ko na we have a strong fighting chance.
Neophyte senators have also taken an active role in the Senate in their first 100 days in office. The Senate has approved the measure postponing the 2020 Barangay and Sangguniang Kabataan elections to December 2022. Senate Electoral Reforms Committee Chairperson Amy Marcos sponsored the measure. Senate Public Order Committee Chairman Bato de la Rosa held several hearings on the missing minors suspected to be recruited by leftist groups. He has just released his committee report. For his part, Senator Bongo continues to defend his pet bill, the measure institutionalizing the malasakit centers in the Senate floor. Joyce Ilas, CNN Philippines.
Star City, one of the country's most famous theme parks, is now in ruins after a massive fire last week. The Bureau of Fire Protection Pasay is eyeing arson as the cause, but the amusement park's management strongly denies this. Chrissy De Matulac has that story.
Walking into the famous amusement park, one could still smell the fumes from the fire that gutted 90% of the area Wednesday midnight. Together with personnel of the Pasay City Fire Department, media were allowed inside to see the extent of the damage. Inside the Aleo Theater, where performances by artists and ballerinas are staged, now empty and dark. Star City, a place where many childhood memories were made, is now left unrecognizable. The amusement rides, food stalls, and the performance theater now left blackened and charred by tremendous heat and flames. On the second floor, more scenes of the destruction from the blaze are more obvious. This ride used to carry happy faces round and round. It's now empty and severely burned. After the inspection, the Pasay Fire Department airs suspicion that the cause of the fire could be deliberate or an act of arson. Because of this, the fire marshal says they will soon summon Star City management and ask them to present financial documents to prove otherwise.
Number 1 doon sa adventure. Pirate adventure. Yung other, inaantay natin yung mga samples. But then, nasabi natin na arson na ito Kasi there is a presence of combustible material. Yung gasolina, literally, andun siya na hindi po siya dapat andoon. Kasi ganito yan yung mga assets nila, andun yan sa accountant. Yung kanilang trial balance, andun yan sa accountant. We will look into it kung sila ba ay nalulugi o hindi. So isusumon natin yung mga papers nila, yung trial balance nila, gano'n. Isusumon natin yung policy nila, insurance policy. Titingnan natin yon. Kasi doon makikita yung mga motibo.
He adds they are also seeking an owner of one of the stalls inside the amusement park. He says the man entered the premises moments before the massive fire, bringing in large amounts of cotton, another combustible material, without logging in the names of his companions. In their official statement, Star City strongly denies the claims of the Pasay Fire Chief that burning the amusement park was a deliberate act. On the presence of gasoline in some areas, the management says many rides in the complex run on gasoline, while the presence of cotton is not unusual since the material is used as filling for stuffed toys. According to Star City spokesperson attorney Steve Hularbal, the comments made by BFP to the media were irresponsible since the investigation has yet to be concluded. Authorities say damage in the theme park costs up to 15 million pesos, and it will remain closed until full assessment of the situation is made. Chrissy de Matulak, CNN Philippines.
A man was arrested for selling pork that authorities claim to be infected with the deadly African swine fever or ASF virus. Quezon City veterinarian Ana Cabel says the pork came from Barangay Payatas, which is ground zero for ASF in Quezon City. Cabel adds all pigs from the said area should have been culled. A formal complaint will be filed against the man tomorrow. Meanwhile, Quezon City Mayor Joy Belmonte warns hog raisers who continue to sell ASF-infected pork.
Tagal ko nang binanggit sa mga hog raisers natin na wag silang magtangkang magtakas ng kanilang mga baboy dahil ito ay pinagbabawal ng batas at and I already told them that I would implement the necessary laws kung subukan nilang labagin yung mga batas.
Belmonte adds they have started culling pigs in Barangay Tandang Sora after pigs with ASF symptoms have died in the past days. Despite a slight increase in the recorded number of meningococcemia cases in the country, the Department of Health assures the public that there is no outbreak. Speaking to CNN Philippines, Health Secretary Francisco Duque says there have been 9 new cases recorded since September. But he says meningococcemia is endemic, meaning the disease has been regularly existing in the country for years. Duque says the infant who died in San Lazaro Hospital last week had symptoms of meningococcemia.
Clinical signs and symptoms point to a probable meningococcemia. But of course, the definitive diagnosis will depend on the RITM's laboratory result.
To help prevent the disease from spreading, Duque reminds the public to practice good personal hygiene and visit the doctor as soon as symptoms occur.